Dr. Ken Charlin. I want to thank you for taking your time to participate in the talk today. It's called Doctor Proven Strategies to Master Pain and Feel in Control. By the time we finish this lecture in the Virtual Neurology Summit, I hope you'll obtain some valuable information to begin to master pain in your own life. Before we get started, I'd like to give you a little bit of background on who I am. I'm a medical doctor. I graduated from Emory University and went on to study neurology at the University of Virginia and Vanderbilt University School of Medicine. I've been in practice since 1998. About 2006, my wife and I got interested in bicycling. Our enthusiasm grew as we conquered rides of increasingly longer distance. Before we knew it, we had completed rides over 100 miles, including the Bike MS ride that takes place in different cities across the country. We even had the opportunity to ride our bicycles across the state of Iowa. Our interest in bicycling led to a desire for greater challenges. I took up the sport of triathlon, and my wife joined in on the fun. Within a couple of years, I completed the first of 3 Ironman triathlons. And during this chapter in my life, I was also able to run half and full marathons. So why am I sharing this with you? In order to accomplish these goals, I quickly realized that a good training plan had to incorporate principles of lifestyle medicine. Proper training could not come without restorative sleep, a precise approach to nutrition, focused workouts, management of the physical and mental stress on my body, and even my connection to others through support from family, fellow cyclists, runners, and my local triathlon club. With a mindset that anything is possible as long as I put my mind to it, I transformed my life. But the story in my office was different. Every day I would go to the clinic and see patients who were sick with neurological conditions ranging from multiple sclerosis to Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, chronic migraine, ALS, and fibromyalgia. Even when providing a thorough evaluation, an accurate diagnosis, and a treatment plan that reflected the highest standard of care, too often that treatment plan involved the prescription of medication that largely controlled symptoms but failed to address the underlying root causes of my patients' conditions. As a result, their improvement seemed to be temporary. The underlying condition progressed over time and required increasing doses of medication or additional medication to provide any degree of relief. I saw my patients getting sicker, while in contrast, I was creating resilient health for myself. Over time, I became increasingly frustrated with my profession and my practice of neurology. I knew there had to be a better way. One day, I was listening to one of my favorite sports podcasts when the doctor being interviewed referred to the Institute for Functional Medicine. My ears perked up. I grabbed my laptop and I searched for the Institute for Functional Medicine, and when the screen loaded, I knew I had found the answer I was looking for in those moments of frustration. Encouraged by my wife, I went back to school to learn how it is we get sick. One of the expressions I share with patients, friends, and colleagues is that in medical school, the first year is traditionally spent teaching the student all about the normal, healthy human body. The second year of medical school is spent teaching the student about disease and illness. But what we skip is something in between the first and second year of medical school, where we take the time to understand the trajectory between resilient health and illness or disease. Because understanding what guides us on this trajectory is ultimately the key to changing our trajectory and returning back to a state of health. This is the message I want to share with you today. So let's talk about pain. What is pain? Why would we have pain? What is the use of such suffering? In its most basic definition, pain is an uncomfortable feeling that tells you something may be wrong. Pain can be physical and pain can be emotional. Importantly, pain is also linked to memory. Pain is associated with our sixth sense. Anticipation of pain can amplify our experience of it. Intuition plays a role. We might encounter something we think will be a source of pain without ever having previously encountered that specific experience or stimulus in the first place. So there's an element of learning related to pain. Classifying pain is helpful to improving our understanding, guiding assessment, and planning treatment. There are many ways to classify pain, and classifications can overlap. Some pain is nociceptive. Nociceptive pain represents the normal response to noxious insult or injury of tissues such as skin, muscles, organs, joints, tendons, or bones. We can also talk about pain as neuropathic pain. Neuropathic pain is initiated or caused by conditions that directly affect the nervous system, specifically nerve endings, and the peripheral nerves themselves, meaning those outside the central nervous system. Neuropathic pain is often described as burning, uncomfortable tingling, or lightning-like. The central nervous system, defined as the brain, brainstem, and spinal cord, can also be a source of pain, and this is called central pain. Central pain includes things like phantom limb pain. In most cases, pain is a symptom associated with disease or mechanical tissue trauma, such as a bad cut or a broken bone. Even when pain is the primary defining symptom of a condition, for example, migraine, or a facial pain syndrome called trigeminal neuralgia, or a particularly debilitating chronic pain syndrome known as complex regional pain syndrome, there are non-pain components to these conditions which need to be evaluated and identified for proper diagnosis and management. Yet, even with these, if we take a functional medicine perspective, the question of why these conditions occur in the first place generally points toward two major and overlapping processes: inflammation and oxidative stress. Inflammation is a complex process which involves the coordination of our immune system, particularly white blood cells, and chemical signals produced by tissues of the body called cytokines. Like pain, inflammation is entirely normal. It's the body's response to injury. It helps to heal wounds. It's the body's defensive response to foreign invaders, such as viruses and bacteria. Inflammation plays a key role in repair of damaged tissue. As with pain, the problem arises when inflammation does not resolve, when it becomes chronic. So this is called chronic inflammation. Oxidative stress occurs because we are oxygen and nitrogen metabolizing species. And while oxygen is necessary for human life, the result of oxygen and nitrogen metabolism can result in products that are harmful to tissues. Under normal circumstances, we are equipped with natural antioxidants, some of which come directly through our diet, and others which are produced indirectly as a result of the food we eat. These include vitamins like A, C, E, glutathione, and enzymes, which are chemical slingshots molecules capable of accelerating or promoting biochemical processes within the body that help to manage excessive oxidative stress. In conditions of chronic inflammation, excessive oxidative stress is produced, and when it is severe and persistent, it may exceed the body's ability to manage this normal threat to cellular health. This results in even more inflammation, fueling the fire and causing tissue destruction and cell death. So we can begin to understand chronic pain, inflammation, and oxidative stress together, with pain reflecting these underlying conditions. Here then is a call to action to address the factors that are driving the pain, driving the inflammation, driving the oxidative stress, by addressing them at the root cause level. But let's digress a little bit and talk about how pain gets to the brain. This will allow us to talk about treating pain as a symptom rather than by cause. Throughout the body, there are specialized nerve endings called nociceptors. These are found in almost every tissue of the body, and they are activated by stimuli, whether that be mechanical, thermal, or chemical. Generally, they're only activated by stimuli of an intensity sufficient to cause some degree of tissue damage. Once activated, they send their signal along nerves capable of conducting information at a rate that varies from about half a meter per second up to about 30 meters per second. These are called A delta and C fibers. A variety of chemical signals, including the cytokines I mentioned earlier, neurotransmitters and peptides, activate these pathways, thereby signaling the spinal cord, which in turn transmits the information along specialized tracts to various regions of the brain. Some responses to pain are so hardwired they require little or no involvement of structures above the level of the brain stem. Instead, they result in a reflex response, such as when we lift our foot up quickly when we've stepped on something sharp. In the brain, pain information enters a region called the thalamus, which acts as a relay station, transmitting the information to a variety of brain regions, some of which are involved with movement and sensation, and others associated with previously established memories and experiences, emotions, and our most primitive instinct, survival. The pathway is complex, but it involves a number of modulators which provide opportunity to intervene to reduce the experience of pain. This is where the conventional doctor's toolbox, containing an immense array of medications, comes into play, because these medications affect these pathways. These include drugs that work through the neurotransmitters known as serotonin, norepinephrine, and gamma-aminobutyric acid. This latter neurotransmitter is also called GABA. Other treatments in the conventional medical toolbox include the opiates that bind to specific receptor proteins and block the signaling of pain. Anti-inflammatory strategies include medications which block mediators known as prostaglandins and the soon-to-be commercially available biologics for treatment of migraine, which block calcitonin gene-related peptide or CGRP receptors. There are several reasons this is worth reviewing. I suspect many listeners do suffer from chronic pain, and their doctors may have prescribed medications to control that pain. So this helps us understand how it is these medications work. In addition, natural substances like turmeric have potent anti-inflammatory properties influencing the prostaglandin pathway, whereas other herbal supplements work through GABA. The body produces its own natural opiate, a class of mediators known as enkephalins and endorphins. Imagine the ability to produce your own pain medication. But it's important to understand that all of these treatments are symptomatic treatments, whether synthetic medications or natural remedies. They may be effective to varying degrees in reducing the experience of pain through their impact on inflammation and signaling pathways, but none of them address pain at the root cause level. By no means does this dismiss their importance. The best possible strategy may be one that compassionately addresses the symptom of pain while at the same time targeting the root causes. So let's return to the functional medicine approach, because that's really going to help us understand those root causes which contribute to inflammation and oxidative stress. The functional medicine approach revolves around three interconnected components. The first part is your unique story. Through a process of interviewing, something that each of you can do on your own, facilitated by a friend or trusted family member, the timeline of your life is mapped out chronologically. It helps us to understand those predisposing factors, genetic or environmental, collectively called antecedents. The activating factors or triggers leading up to the moment of illness. And the mediators or perpetuators that keep us in pain, on the same trajectory, not allowing us to overcome or alter the course of illness. Understanding the timeline at a more biological level involves the identification of imbalances in functional systems that govern how our bodies actually work. Now, these systems don't act in isolation, but in concert, where an imbalance in one system affects the balance of the other. This is what drives inflammation and oxidative stress. They go by names like assimilation, defense and repair, energy, biotransformation and elimination, transport, communication, and structural integrity. Assimilation focuses on the digestion and absorption of nutrients and the trillions of microbes that inhabit the digestive tract. Defense and repair includes the balance of the immune system, which helps to defend against perceived threats, whether they be infection or trauma. At times, the immune system may be too weak to overcome infection, leading to what we call chronic infection, or at other times, overactive to the point that it attacks the tissues of our own bodies, causing autoimmunity. Another system is energy, which refers to the health of the energy-producing engines of every cell, known as the mitochondria. These mitochondria are especially susceptible to inflammation and oxidative stress. Biotransformation and elimination is a normal biological function related to our body's ability to manage and eliminate waste, including the products of normal metabolism. However, this increasingly toxic world, full of deadly chemicals and toxic metals, increasingly challenges our system of biotransformation and elimination, and it can get overwhelmed. Communication refers to hormones, the chemical messengers released by glands throughout the body to travel through the bloodstream and alter the behavior of tissues and cells distant from the point where the hormone was excreted. Neurotransmitters like serotonin, GABA, norepinephrine, as mentioned earlier, and others like dopamine and glutamate have their effect in a more localized manner, as when one nerve communicates with the nerve immediately adjacent to it. Structural integrity refers not only to the structure of the cell, including the cellular membrane or cell wall, but tissue layers throughout the body, as well as the muscles, bones, and joints. Transport refers to blood vessels and lymphatics, the channels which carry our red blood cells, our immune system cells, hormones, and waste products headed for the liver and kidneys. Finally, there are the modifiable personal lifestyle factors of sleep and relaxation, exercise and movement, nutrition, stress, and relationships or connection. Depending on the status of each of these categories, they can be both triggers or perpetuators. In this example, chronically disruptive sleep contributes to chronic pain, and ongoing sleep disruption only further promotes the chronic illness pattern. These lifestyle factors are the most powerful tools we have in our toolbox to influence the balance or imbalance of those functional systems we just reviewed. So take the time to complete your own survey of where you are with each of these categories so that you can create a map of implementation to begin to correct the imbalances and reduce your pain naturally. Let's look at them individually. For sleep, aim for 7 to 8 hours of restful sleep at night. Sleep in a quiet, darkened room. Turn off the television, radio, put away the tablet or computer or smartphone. If they must be used, even briefly, turn on the feature that filters blue light, an energy wavelength that actually tells our brain it's daytime, it's time to be awake. Or alternately, wear blue light filter glasses. Avoid stimulants in the latter half of the day. Keep the room cool at night. If you do snore, or if there's a suspicion of sleep apnea, a condition characterized by pauses or obstruction to breathing during sleep, get checked by sleep specialists and treat this problem like a medical emergency. Try to wake up with the rising sun. It's actually how our brains are wired, and it'll keep your brain on a natural schedule. Sleep is also a time for tissue repair, a process critical to resolving pain. So keep a regular sleep schedule, even on weekends. And if sleep aids must be used, consider low-dose melatonin 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. Drink an herbal tea containing ingredients that increase GABA, such as chamomile, valerian root, and lemon balm. Maybe take an Epsom salt bath or use some magnesium. Consider exploring binaural rhythms designed specifically for sleep and relaxation. Or those who seek more advanced options may wish to explore the benefits of a personalized transcranial direct current stimulator device, such as a Fisher-Wallace device. Exercise. Although each of you may be in a different place in your life with respect to exercise and physical ability, movement remains a critical aspect of our health as human beings, and a potent tool to treat chronic pain. If necessary, get a personal trainer or a referral to physical therapy. A comprehensive program should focus on the components of fitness, including endurance, strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination. There is a strong relationship between inactivity and chronic pain. We are evolved to move, and as with other aspects of lifestyle that affect our health, behaviors that go against the grain of what is natural to our bodies are often those behaviors that lead to imbalance within those functional systems, drive inflammation and oxidative stress, and lead to illness or disease. Nutrition. Food plays a major role in modulating chronic pain. We are bombarded with what author Michael Pollan calls edible food-like substances. Eliminate sugar in all its forms. Avoid other potentially inflammatory foods like dairy, wheat, and other gluten-containing grains. Our diet should consist mostly of plants for their profound anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. These include green leafy vegetables, the cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower or cabbage, and the antioxidant-rich colorful foods like blueberries and pomegranates. Nuts and seeds such as walnuts or almonds are an excellent source of anti-inflammatory healthy fats called omega-3 fatty acids, along with copper, manganese, and antioxidants such as phenols, flavonoids, and phenolic acid. In a study published in 2016, researchers from Harvard's Brigham and Women's Hospital studied more than 5,000 people and found that frequent nut consumption was associated with less inflammation. But our diets should not be limited to plants alone, as we may run the risk of deficiencies of critical nutrients, including vitamin B12, creatine, carnosine, vitamin D3, and the animal-sourced omega-3 fatty acids DHA and EPA. Nutrient imbalances can drive inflammation and oxidative stress. The amino acid taurine largely comes from eating animal products and is critical to the normal function of the central nervous system. The best sources of taurine are meat and fish. Stress. A stress resilience practice like exercise and regular sleep is critical for maintaining balance within the autonomic nervous system. This system is divided broadly into fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system, and rest and digest, otherwise known as the parasympathetic nervous system. Excessive sympathetic nervous system activity has been associated with increased death rates and chronic disease, including chronic pain. My patients with multiple sclerosis know this in particular. Stress is a major trigger for disease flare-up. Migraine is very similar, as is fibromyalgia. Stress, anxiety, or worry tend to make the experience of pain worse. Furthermore, unresolved early life trauma may be hardwired in the brain and cause it to be more vigilant and have a lower threshold for pain and be more likely to result in chronic pain conditions later in life. As a result of our digital age, there are many opportunities to learn the practice of mindfulness meditation. Apps and websites are numerous and vary from free to a nominal monthly or annual subscription fee. Mindfulness meditation for chronic pain has been well studied. A mindfulness-based stress reduction practice, including guided body scan, yoga, sitting and walking meditation, all have together been shown to significantly improve mental and physical function among those suffering from back or joint pain or psychological distress. 10 to 20 minutes per day may be all that is needed. Mornings are an excellent time for this practice as it helps us ease into the activities of the day as we focus our minds on affirmations, which promote positive actions, thoughts, and feelings. Similarly, evening meditation may ready the mind for sleep. Connection. We humans are evolved to connect together for survival. Among the factors that fulfill the human need for connectedness are social institutions like marriage, family, and friendships. The absence of satisfactory human connections, experienced as loneliness, is detrimental to physical, mental, and social well-being. It throws our bodies into fight or flight and tends to heighten the experience of pain. Those with less social support have more inflammation, more disability and pain with arthritis, less effective immune systems, more complications during pregnancy, and more cardiovascular disease and more pain. Our connections with others, including the human touch, promote the release of the hormone oxytocin linked to positive emotions, pleasure, and love. Oxytocin, it turns out, improves pain, including low back pain and fibromyalgia, by supporting the body's own opiate system, the endorphins and enkephalins. It reduces levels of cortisol, the fight or flight hormone in the body, and lowers blood pressure. Oxytocin receptors in the intestinal tract improve gut motility and decrease intestinal inflammation. Oxytocin plays a role in crystallizing emotional memories, nudging out those that are painful and interfering with our ability to live a vibrant and fulfilling life. As we return to the functional medicine model, we note at the center is our mental, emotional, and spiritual selves. This is the connection between the body and mind and establishes the inseparability of all these components. The belief that chronic pain can be conquered and the determination to achieve that goal drives all the other behaviors necessary to achieve freedom from chronic pain. So whether this is related to sleep, optimizing nutrition and movement, nurturing social connections, or being able to let go as during a period of mindfulness, each piece is important in your journey. In the beginning of this talk, I shared my personal story of growth and evolution, both personally and professionally. I couldn't have crossed the finish line of the Ironman triathlon had I not believed that it was possible for me to do so all along. I could not have left the mainstream of my profession to pursue a more holistic approach to helping my patients had I not believed in the success and purpose of that endeavor. So in closing, I invite each of you to take the time over the next several days and map out your story, where you are at present. Visualize your future life without pain and what you need to do to reclaim your life and regain control. Cross that finish line. I wish you the very best on your journey. Thank you.